And today is a really hot afternoon in Orange County, California. We're in our wonderful patio with the fans going. I got my shorts on because it's hot. And we have a student from University of California, Irvine. And it's Alex Udavines, right?
Yes.
Very, very good. I think I got that last name correct. Is that right?
Yep.
Now, I understand you're the president of the UCI chapter of Atheist?
I'm the publicity chair.
Publicity chair, excuse me.
So,
and what's the formal name of the organization?
Atheists, Agnostics, and Rationalists at UC Irvine.
And I see that on your shirt there, and you have Cogito ergo des non est. And I'm going to guess what that is, because cog is cognitive, and ergo is therefore, ergo, and des is God, and non is no, and then est is exist. So I think it says, I think, therefore, God does not exist.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, I'm smarter than I look. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your organization, Alex.
We're a student club at UC Irvine, and our primary mission is, comes in two parts. The first part is just to provide a social group and somewhere for, atheists, agnostics, and rationalists and assorted other non-believers to congregate and kind of be around like-minded individuals, have a social experience without having to worry about any kind of major differences about religion or the tensions that usually tend to arise from that. So that's kind of our more student club, pretty much like, most other student college clubs are. Our other aspect is we want to bring up the realization for people in America, and starting, of course, at just the campus level with our club, that atheists are good people. Atheists are not the stereotype of apathetic, having no morals and just being what people might describe as evil, untrustworthy people. In fact, people do in America tend to describe that.
Well, it was in the Webster's Dictionary in 1920s. It was the definition of atheists were evil people. Of course, he was a Christian. You probably didn't know that, but that was taken out of later dictionaries.
Wow.
But how many people are in your group?
According to Facebook, which is where we do a lot of the club organization, we have around 100 people, 105, 106. Good. Showing up to meetings, we usually have anywhere between 15 and 25 people.
That's good. That is good, because I've been to some atheist groups, there's only 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice. Because it gives us a chance to have some lively debates, because when we're doing a club meeting, and we do them usually once a week, and so once we're done with the administrative business of the club, we move into, just a discussion on atheism or some topic in general. These can vary in depth from being, what do you think about religion in the U.S. today? Do you think that religion is causing major problems in the U.S. or around the world? Fairly weighty issues, to just being, hey, how did you become, what was your journey to being an atheist, agnostic, rationalist? Did you grow up religious? What's your favorite burrito?
Everything.
We vary it up. It's everything, because, while we do definitely want to provide a forum to talk about the more serious issues, we're a college club and we're college students for the most part. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in our lives.
Well, you feel like the college students are basically coming out as atheists, because it takes a lot of courage to come out as an atheist, especially since the majority around us, the people around us, and the peer pressures, of course, can be tremendous in college, are not atheists or not agnostic, they're believers.
That's definitely true. I mean, we're fortunate to live in Southern California, where, compared to the rest of the country, being an atheist is really not a huge deal in terms of getting pressure put on you and being disliked simply for that reason.
For instance, in Texas or Louisiana, if you started a group, you might really be ostracized.
Yeah, especially if you're in the more rural areas or just not in parts, the big urban areas where a large number of people in large different minority groups are accepted. So as having personally grown up in Southern California, I've never had a huge pressure either way. you know, in terms of religious beliefs. Pretty much whatever is accepted as long as it ain't hurting no one.
That's right. That's where we come into play, because it does hurt no one. It's actually we don't hurt anybody, but of course it's the religion is coming into taking our rights away.
Exactly. And so, but for, you know, a number of people who didn't grow up in Southern California or didn't grow up in, you know, an urban cosmopolitan area, coming to college and finding an open environment and a venue to just be yourself. And so even if we're not discussing, you know, major atheist or religious issues, it's still a forum just to be yourself and not have to worry about, you know, being judged. In fact, we try and get religious believers into the club to discuss so that we can have discussions.
And do you?
Every now and then.
Because I think the religious people, especially Christians, they're even afraid of going in because first they think you're going to try to convert them, which that's exactly what this show is not, to convert people. Well, I believe that people will be converted on their own as long as they investigate their holy book enough to where they could see all the contradictions, which there are thousands or almost unlimited.
Exactly.
You know.
I've found, you know, it's often the more you learn about the world, the more you learn about science, the more you learn how everything functions and how people interact, you know, that tends to also lead towards the conversion to atheism. You know, either whether it's a epiphanal kind of thing or whether it's just a slow change.
Well, what's the statistics behind scientists or basically educated people? Is there any positive correlation between educated people and becoming less religious or
yeah,
atheistic?
There definitely is. I'm pretty sure it's Gallup who's been doing those sorts of polls, but can't exactly recall where the numbers came from. But yeah, there is definitely a correlation between education and being less religious. So the more educated you are, the less religious you tend to be.
And why do you think that is?
Again, it's just, you know, I guess coming from my own story, it's as I learned more about how the world works and became more educated about evolution and physics and, you know, cosmology, I just saw less and less of a room where you needed God to explain something. And so I think that as people get more educated, they see that the world just works in and of itself. It doesn't need something guiding it. Then, you know, there's less of a need for a God, and you might begin to say, hey, not only is there not a need, but believing in this way and believing this set of dogma, you know, pick a religion, there's problematic dogma, you're going to start to realize, hey, maybe dogma doesn't work, and then moving past that, you know, maybe simply there is no deity out there. You know, as the name of the club implies, atheists, agnostics, and rationalists, we have people across the whole spectrum. For the most part, the club is atheist, but there are definitely some agnostics who don't take that next step into atheists, and there are definitely rationalists who just scientifically look at the world, but they simply choose not to get into the religious argument of the existence of God or not. They just simply are looking at the world and going about it going about their lives in a rational, systematic manner.
Well, let's take a look at the National Academy of Sciences, which is basically the top scientists of the U.S. And I don't know how many there are in there, but I assume that there are thousands of them. There can't be hundreds because there are many elements in there. And these are the people that actually advise our politicians what's happening in the world around us. And I believe that 93% of them have actually said that they do not have a personal God or worship a personal deity. That to me is definitely atheistic. It's if not a hard agnostic. That's 93% of our top scientists.
Yeah, and I definitely think there's a reason for that. You know, but of course that's, you know, personally I think that as people find out more about science, again, they're going to be less religious. But, you know, I think an important thing to stress that oftentimes in the atheist community we might not express enough is that doesn't mean, having a religion does not mean you are not thinking. You know, it's kind of almost a slight problem I have with the t-shirt even. We mostly, you know, had this phrase to incite debate and, you know, be out there and kind of be in your face a little bit, more the first response thing. But looking deep into it, there are a lot of rational people who might believe in a deity, and that's where, you know, the idea of being tolerance and all that kind of thing. So that's why we try and get believers into the club to discuss, because I personally, and we as a club generally tend to do believe that intelligent people might choose to be religious. They might choose for a variety of reasons to do this, and as long essentially as they're not making a problem with us and we're not making a problem with them, there's no real reason why we need to call for the downfall of all religion.
Of course. Well as what you just said, we're not talking about stupid people being more religious. We're saying that there's a definite correlation between educated people, which has nothing to do with intelligence, because you can be intelligent and not be educated. Most intelligent people do go on to college as a particular choice. That's why they're intelligent. So you will see, of course, more educated people that are intelligent. That's their choice. But let's get back a little bit to your particular group. Are you a group of any type of national alliance of atheists for colleges?
Right now, we are affiliated with CFI, the Center for Inquiry. We're also probably soon to be affiliated with AAI, I think Atheist Alliance International.
That's correct.
And so, we're going through the paperwork to
But isn't there a student alliance already in place for any college that wants to set up an atheist group?
No, actually, there isn't.
There isn't?
There is through CFI, and I think American Atheists might have one as well. However, there's no specific group, that is just, kind of our own group for college programs.
Well, maybe you set that up for us.
Yeah, actually, that's something I've been talking about with the other officers in the group, and maybe starting to do that. Some of us have friends up in the UCLA atheist organization. Some of us, have friends down at UCSD who are atheists, and I'm not sure if there is an organization there, but there probably is, and we should build up ties. And that's kind of another goal of our organization right now, is to try and build up an atheist community, build up a community of people who you can go, hey, we have a city council, like I think a couple months ago here in Villa Park, trying to vote on, in God we trust. We need to get maybe some people who live in this area to go out and speak against this, because this is something against what we as an atheist community would want. Essentially, it's always been a problem of atheists, is the good old herding cats analogy.
That's right. It's very difficult. We do not have a social structure very much like churches do. In fact, most people that go to churches, if you ask them what do they enjoy about the church, a lot of them won't say worship. They'll say, because I get to see my friends and people that I know on a weekly or even a bi-weekly basis before and after church and all the other group gatherings. And that's why people like you are holding more social events in colleges. People like me are holding more potluck parties. Every couple months we have a potluck party in Orange County, and we're starting to develop a relationship between other atheist groups. It is like herding cats, because atheists by definition are very individualistic. They don't like organized religion especially, but sometimes they don't like anything other any other organized groups.
It's it definitely, in just talking with other atheists, and especially because recently I've become part of the community a little bit more here in Orange County.